Welcome to Salzburg. My name is Michaela and I'm your local guide. Today I'd like to show you some of my favorite modern art sculptures in the midst of the historic center. Come join me on a walk of modern art. Right between the Fortress Hohensalzburg and the Salzburg Dome is the Chapter Square. And the famous German artist Stephan Balkenhol decided to use this square for his sculpture called Sphere. The sculpture is about 9 meters high with a base, and it shows a male figure standing calmly on top of a golden ball. The man wears a white shirt and black pants and has no expression in his face. He looks far away and nobody knows who he represents. So when you walk through Salzburg and you come to that square and see the man, then you could think it's somebody you know, or it could be every man. This sculpture represents something different for everyone, and that was the intention of the artist. For me, it represents the biggest Mozart chocolate in the world, and every man likes it. Each sculpture belongs to the Salzburg Foundation. It is an organization that is committed to art in public space. The idea is to bring modern art to the people in addition to visiting modern art in a museum. The organization was founded in 2001. Each year they chose one artist and brought him to Salzburg, and the artist was able to or allowed to pick a special place for his artwork in Salzburg in the midst of the historic center. Walking along the Mönchsberg mountain, you will soon find the Sky Space. This is a sculpture of the American artist James Turrell. He used the space right next to the Museum of Modern Art. As a pilot himself, he also was fascinated by the sky, and he decided to use the sky in his piece of art. So he formed and built a walk-in space in form of an elliptical cylinder, which is made out of the same material than the Mönchsberg mountain. Just walk into the space, take a seat, look around and look up to the opening in the ceiling. You will be able to enjoy the natural play of light. You will see the sun rays coming in different angles and also the different formations of the clouds. All this will always give you a different view and impressions of the art and the sky. The German painter and sculptor Markus Lüpertz designed a very personal homage of the famous musician Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He chose the place Ursulinenplatz, which borders to the Mönchsberg mountain and also to the river Salzach. The artist placed his modern artwork as a sculptural counterpart to the Ursulinenkirche. You can see the statue in a standing leg, playing leg position. The bust reminds us more of Amadeus Mozart, especially with his famous hairstyle. Markus Lüpertz wanted to express Mozart's musical talent, but also his inner conflicts that we know of Mozart's life and his work. Erwin Wurm is master of whimsical humor. Everyday objects like cars or houses or even cucumbers he likes to turn into artwork. Each cucumber is individually different, but we can recognize it immediately as a cucumber, and it is designable to a whole, similar to humans. He exposes absurd social environments with his art. For him, everything can become sculpture. Nothing seems to be what they are. Everything is changeable. The artist leaves the interpretation open, but he leaves us with a question. Aren't we all a little bit of a cucumber? The Catalan artist from Plensa created a beautiful artwork for the Dietrichsruhe at the University Salzburg. It is a monumental 5-meter high female head from a young girl with Caribbean facial expressions. And her name is Avila. Avila is a girl that left her home, Santo Domingo, in the search of a new life and better life in Europe. The artist made his sculpture out of Spanish white marble and placed 20 discs in different diameters but the same height on top of each other, and he forms the head. Avila represents any person in Salzburg that tries to build daily history, maybe for a better future. Almost in the middle of Salzburg, where traffic and hectic city life pulsate, the performance and video artist Marina Abramovic wanted to create a place of reflection, and she dedicated that place to the spirit of Mozart. The artist wanted to build a seat for the spirit of Mozart. It is a 15-meter high chair without a seat, and if you stand underneath it, you can see the sky. Mozart's spirit is invisible, but if you frame it, you can see the spirit. And the artist means anyone who sits here long enough can make a connection to invisible forces. She invites every visitor to sit down on the chair, close their eyes, be inspired by the spirit of Mozart and meditate. Mozart was born in Salzburg and he composed many important works. His spirit has remained in Salzburg, where his music was always alive. The English sculptor Anthony Cragg installed his 5-meter high sculpture out of patterned bronze in the middle of Market Square. It is entitled Caldera, which is a geological phrase and means something like a great basin of volcanic origin. Caldera is a true landscape of bronze. It has different forms that push against each other like tectonic layers. Walking around the sculpture, you can even make out human profiles that suddenly appear and suddenly disappear. For the artist Anthony Cragg, it is a mental landscape that can be also experienced from inside the cauldron. This sculpture actually is accessible. The artist picked a historic place with the Trinity Church on one side and Mozart's residence on the other side. But in contrast to these historic buildings, he placed his modern piece of sculpture right in the middle of Market Square. We have reached the end of our walk to the modern sculptures in Salzburg. Which sculpture and artwork did you prefer the most? Or is there any artwork in your hometown that you'd like to share? I'm looking forward to your comments below, and maybe I'll see you in the next video. Auf Wiedersehen! Her sculpture is who is a man standing on a golden ball? I don't know if I should leave that.